Tēnā koutou katoa, kia ora and welcome to another Manawanui live stream. My name is Simon and today we are covering some of the most recent Manawanui updates as well as an update from the wider disability sector. We should have plenty of time for your questions, so please do pop any questions or topics of discussion into the comments and I will cover them off as they come up. But I will get started on these updates now for us. So the first one is around ACC invoices. So you may know them as levies. If you are a Manawanui payroll customer and you receive your workplace cover ACC invoice, you need to make sure we have received a copy of it. You can email that to our customer experience center inbox and we will manage it from there on. Once you know we have received it, there is no further action you need to take. You just need to rest assured that we will have that sorted and pay your ACC invoice. If you have provided consent to have your ACC account linked to Manawanui, process is slightly different. What happens is we receive your invoice directly from ACC, but you still have access to log in and see whether you have an outstanding ACC invoice before we've paid it. So what has happened recently is we are in the process of transitioning the financial system our team uses to manage all of our accounting and payment of invoices, and that includes how we pay ACC invoices. So we have managed to get an agreement from ACC to put a pause or grace period in place for late fees and reminder notices for ACC invoices that are linked to Manawanui. So we have had a few customers contact us and say, why haven't you paid this? Or, this ACC invoice is outstanding. If you are linked to us, just know that it will get paid, it will get sorted, and there isn't a thing you need to worry about unless you receive an overdue reminder notice from ACC. So if ACC are contacting you with a physical or digital notice reminding you that you have an overdue payment, that needs to come to us and we will make sure it is sorted. So yeah, that is everything for payroll customers. If you are self-managing and you use a third-party payroll service, we encourage you to accrue or set aside a portion of the wages you pay out to accrue for the ACC levy that needs to be paid at the end of the year. That ensures you have enough funding set aside to pay for it. However, if you don't accrue for the ACC invoice each fortnight, once you receive that invoice, you simply need to add it to an expense claim, attach the invoice as the receipt, and we will pay you the amount on the invoice, and then you can pay ACC directly yourself. If you are a contractor or scheduler contractor, your self-employed or Cover Plus ACC invoice is your responsibility, and these levies cannot be paid from your individualized funding. These invoices are related to income that you earn as a contractor, therefore you need to cover that yourself. As always, if you have any questions related to ACC invoices, please contact our customer experience center and we will get it sorted for you. Trina said, yes, I got the overdue notice after sending in 2 weeks previous and was told it takes 2 months to pay it. Yeah, so it's not that it takes 2 months to pay it. It's just that we're in the process of changing our finance system, and so we've been given a 2 month grace period from ACC to get it sorted. Um, all you need to know is that if you've received an invoice from ACC and you've provided it to us, we will get it paid. If you are getting late fees or overdue notices, we will have all of that sorted. Any late fees or penalties will get waived. As long as we are linked to your ACC or you have sent through your ACC invoice to us. But I know how confusing it can be, or whether you're worried if it's being handled or not. Please don't be shy. If you really want to know for certain if something has been sorted, contact our customer experience center and they will give you a very clear answer of whether they need you to provide anything or if we have everything and you can just sit back and let us manage the process from then on. Okay, the next update is probably the most important for many of you. Disability Support Services, or DSS, as I'll refer to them from now on, have confirmed that there is approximately a 3.3% funding uplift to Disability Support Services, DSS individualised funding allocations and carer support. A lot of you will be asking, why hasn't your funding changed in the portal? Why hasn't that increase been reflected? It's a bit of a tricky one to explain. I'll try and do it as simply as I can, but the way in which we manage your funding, it needs to match what your funding balance and allocation is within the DSS system. So if it's not been explained to you before, what happens is when you submit a claim or a timesheet, we use our finances to make that payment, and then we use your funding to draw down from and reimburse ourselves. And so what we do is we invoice the ministry to get that money back, and that invoicing process only works if the amount of funding you have in our system matches the amount of funding DSS says you have. So we've been waiting for that funding system with DSS to be updated, which I do believe happened this week. So good news. We are working through the data to make sure it is all correct, and we are expecting to have the funding uplift in place this week. We will notify you once it has been put in place. And what we will do is it will take the amount of funding you had remaining, or the amount of units you had remaining as of 1 July, and it will increase by 3.3% roughly. The individualized funding hourly rate will go up. Excuse me, I don't have the actual number in front of me, but that's how your funding will be uplifted. The value of each unit you have will go up. That is only for your main or default individualized funding, so that's your personal care and household management, and the other EGL fundings streams. 3822, thank you so much, Karen. I always appreciate having you in the chat. And we are still waiting for IF respite to be updated. So what happens with your respite allocation is they will increase the number of units you have rather than the unit price. And so once that information has been updated, we will then update your respite allocations as well. That probably won't happen this week. Karen says, I still think it needs to show on the portal when ACC is paid. I agree. I do believe we have that feedback in our backlog of changes to put in place. And I do believe that some of the changes that we made to the statement recently, which I'll talk about soon, should enable that. Because yes, you don't want to have to keep calling us or emailing us asking if an invoice has been paid. It would be much easier for you to check the portal to confirm that. So I do believe that is in the works. Sorry, I'll just go back to the comments because I missed a question from Trish. Trish said, I would like to ask a question about if I would like to join Manawanui for my support hours. How does this work, please? So by the sounds of it, Trish, you already have been allocated a funding package from your NASC. Then the process is quite simple. You simply need to tell your NASC that you would like to change your support package to individualized funding and that you would like Manawanui as your individualized funding host. If they are happy to process that request, then they will contact us with your funding and contact details, and we will start our onboarding process from there. But yeah, essentially you need to contact your NASC and request to join Manawanui. That is it. Dwayne's question, personal care and household management units only. Correct. We still haven't seen the IF respite funding units updated in the DSS funding system. So we can't update IF respite allocations just yet. As more information comes out, we will of course keep you posted. So keep an eye on your inbox. We'll probably put some announcements on Facebook and also on the portal itself. Yeah, we will try to keep you guys as up to date as possible as things change. My next update is around the statement that we have in the portal. If you saw the email that went out, you should hopefully know exactly what I'm about to say, but we made some changes to the statement page in the portal, with the biggest changes being that you will now see pending transactions on your statement. So if you are a payroll customer, your payroll fees for the remaining fortnights will show as pending transactions. If you have submitted any claims or any timesheets that need to be processed in the future, those fall into the pending transaction. And if you have your EPP or your employment protection package that is due to be paid from your current funding allocation, that will also show as a pending transaction. And the reason we've done this is that when you look on your statement, your funding remaining balance is a really important figure because it allows you to plan how much funding you have left for the year. So if things like your payroll fees or submitted timesheets aren't reflected in that balance, you think you have more funding available than you actually do. And therefore you're more likely to run into a situation at the end of your funding period where you don't have quite enough. So hopefully this is a positive change and it will help you budget a little bit easier and keep a tighter track on your funding remaining for the rest of your funding period. In the email that you would have received, there is a link to watch a video. I walk through the entire changes to the statement page, all the new fields, all the new numbers and what they mean. So please watch that video. And then if you have any questions following, you can contact the Customer Experience Center, or you could even leave a comment on the actual YouTube video link, which some people have done already. Excuse me. Just reading out Holly's comment. Trish, you need to contact your needs assessment coordinator who gave you the support package and request they make the change to host to Manawanui for you. Yep, that is absolutely correct. Thank you, Holly. So Trish, you need to contact your needs assessor, request that your funding is reallocated to Manawanui, and we can help you from that point onwards. So yeah, you can always contact us if you need assistance with that process, but unfortunately we can't make that change for you until we get confirmation from your NASC. Those are the main updates I have for today. So we've got plenty of time left for Q&A. If you have anything you'd like for me to cover off, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I haven't mentioned that is relevant for you all. I suppose just a reminder, there is about a week and a few days left to have your say in the community consultation that DSS is running. Please go to their website and complete their survey, or just complete a email submission and email it off to the address they have on their website. The whole disability community is waiting to hear the result of the select committee process for the DSS bill. We believe sometime in August is when we'll hear the select committee's recommendations for the bill. And we hope that there are some big changes, if not the bill being removed completely. We shall see. Karen has a question. Any update on MSD funding? Forgive me, I haven't checked back in with the team since we confirmed that we were putting in placeholder funding. So Karen, thank you for reminding me. What I will do is I will check in with the funding admin team and I will confirm if they've received the exact new funding allocation amounts, or if we're still using the placeholder fundings, and then I will send a follow-up email to all MSD VHN funding holders with an update. So thank you, Karen, for prompting me to do that. Trina says, our employee wants to change their tax code. Do I do it in the portal, or will an employee need to complete another tax declaration? So every time you want to change your tax code, the employee needs to fill out an IR330 form and fill out their details and provide their new tax code. It's a very important piece of payroll related information, and we need the employee to provide the updated tax code, please. The only time we can do it without an employee's direction is if Inland Revenue have decided that an employee is using the wrong tax code, then we can actually change it based on their direction. But otherwise, we need that form from the employee. So what you need to do is update the tax code in the portal on their employee record, upload the new IR330 form that they've completed in the documents section, and we will action that in the payroll system behind the scenes before the next timesheet is paid. So that advice goes for things like KiwiSaver, deduction holidays, or changing KiwiSaver information. We can't do any of that without the employee providing to you, the employer, the correct documentation filled out correctly. So, if you're just updating the information in the portal thinking it will flow through, it won't unless we have the documentation to reflect it. Things like their hourly rate, or what else is a good example? I guess their personal information. That stuff, we don't need new forms or anything to update it. It's just anything related to the actual documents we need, such as their tax code form, KiwiSaver. I think that's it. Just holding out to see if any more questions come through. Karen with another helpful tip. Sometimes it pays to send CEC an email to make sure those changes have been updated. Look, I like to say that those emails aren't required at all, but I will acknowledge that sometimes those notifications to update payroll information are missed. So if you really want to make sure, you can send it through, but the vast majority of the time you update it in the portal and it gets updated in our payroll system. We've made huge improvements to the way that process is managed internally. So some of those kind of gaps in the system aren't there anymore. But yeah, if you want peace of mind, you can contact the CEC as well. While we're waiting for more questions, I just want to mention a few dates coming up in the calendar. I believe it's the 13th or 14th of August. We will be down in Wellington for the Well Able Transition Expo. And then at the end of August, somewhere, I'm going to look at my calendar so I don't get this wrong. The 27th and 28th of August, we will be down in Christchurch for their Disability Expo. And then in September, on the 4th and 5th, there are actually 2 expos down in Tauranga, which we will be there as well. And if you are up in Auckland, I believe it's the 9th for the Transition Expo here in Tamaki Makaurau, which we will be there, of course, as we always are. So if you're in one of those major cities and you want to come and say hello to the team in person, I'll be there. A few of my other colleagues will be there. We'd love to see you. We'd love to say hello. But also please tell your friends if there's anybody that you know in your circle who maybe isn't using IF and might benefit, then we'd love to talk to them and see if we can help, help them to access IF. Karen has commented, remind everyone to do consultations. Yeah, I did mention that just before as well. The DSS consultation, go to the DSS website, find the section on the current consultation and pick the easiest way it is for you to have your say. There's a survey if you'd find it easier to follow along and answer their questions, or if it's easier just to put all your thoughts together in an email, you can just email the address they have on their website. There are some limited in-person consultations, and I do believe some community groups are running their own. But with it only being a week left, might just be easier to do it online in your own time. Alrighty, I think we might wrap things up a little bit early. Thank you to everyone who has joined in, asked a question or commented and helped move the conversation along. I hope the updates today were valuable. They were the same that was in the newsletter on Friday. Now that we're on a sort of alternating fortnightly schedule, you'll probably see a bit of the same updates across the newsletter and the live stream, just to make sure people are getting all of the information that we're putting out there. And we will see you all again in 2 weeks' time on Facebook live stream, hopefully with a guest I have in the works, which I cannot confirm just yet, but some organization that many of you are familiar with. Final question before we take off, because we've got the time. Ro, R-O-U, apologies if I've pronounced it wrong. Which funding do I use for hydrotherapy? Also, would this be a cost I can pay with funding if I'm on tier 2? I guess it depends on what is the purpose of the hydrotherapy? If it's related to personal care and that it helps their physical well-being, their fatigue, their muscles, their mobility, their rest, if that's the main purpose of hydrotherapy, that fits IF. If the purpose of hydrotherapy is for you to have a break, get some time out, go and do the shopping while they're being taken care of by a hydrotherapist, it fits respite. Basically, it can be designated either way. It's whichever one you would prefer that funding to cover it, depending on how much funding you have in each allocation and what other costs you may need to cover. But yeah, you could use either or really. And because you are tier 2, you need pre-approval for anything over $1,500. So if it doesn't fit, if it fits under $1,500, then you don't need pre-approval. If it's over that amount, then you just need to complete a pre-approval form, and we would most likely support that because we think hydrotherapy is a wonderful use of funding as long as it relates to your purpose, of course. But yeah, I wouldn't see any issue as long as your funding allocation can manage that cost and continue to support you throughout the whole year. So with that lovely question handled, I will bid you all farewell. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I will see you all again in 2 weeks' time on another Facebook live stream. Ka kite.